I know I promised this 2 days ago, and I apologize, but I'm going to do it now. So I want to review the game that you played with David a couple days ago, where you were Zyra, and I want to real quick go over the runes and masteries that go along with Zyra. The best rune page for her is to go Magic Pen and Reds, and then you want to go half armor and half health in yellows. Then you want to take all AP blues and all AP quints. So that's going to give you the most lane presence. You have a ton of magic penetration. You have a ton of ability power. Just really, really solid options for her. You could take hybrid pen. I don't recommend it because your plants do a lot more damage than your autos ever could. You should still auto often. However, it's just really important to have that magic penetration. And if you wanted to, you could put some magic penetration in here too instead of the ability power. That's up to you, completely based on your preference. This is what I find works best for me. As far as masteries, you want to do the 12-18, which I believe you're doing. Anyways, Thunderlords is a ridiculously strong skill. It's just something that is pretty much a no-brainer for her and a lot of other champions at the moment. Unfortunately, I didn't... one second, how do I... pause this? Oh, okay. I had to mute it. Unfortunately, I did. Okay, good. I'm glad I got rid of the chat. It'll make it a lot easier to help you with. Let me get this out here. Let's see if this is going to work for me. Alright, I want to be able to do this for you, but I'm not sure. How to best do that. Considering it's not letting me draw on it if it's widescreen. Oh, it will. Okay. Got it. Got it, coach. Alright. This way I can kind of pinpoint to you different things that you can and should be doing while you're laning. Here, you guys go a little aggressive, which is fine. Typically, I usually try to wait to use my ward in lane. However, if you're in this situation, it's not a bad idea to drop ward there or here. It's good you got 8 gold off of it. And he's going to continue to harass, so give you guys a little bit of an advantage when it comes to lane. Look how low Lucian is. He's a high plat player. I'm not sure I would trust, if you're dealing with someone in silver, I'm not sure I would go too deep with them, just because sometimes they go a little bit too deep. But just use your best judgment in terms of that. Alright, you always want to start Q as Zyra, always. It gives you the most lane presence and makes it easier for you to harass. Now when you come to lane, the first thing you want to do is help push. Your Q also helps with that if you can't get in close to somebody. The best way to find out whether or not Thresh has hook is to stand behind minions and auto attack him. He will auto attack you back. If he chunks you a lot, he took Flay. If he doesn't, he took hook. You want to auto attack as often as possible. So every time that he comes up here, one second, let me see the next time it happens. That was the dangerous one. Alright, so now in this situation, you went and you got level 2. How you know you get level 2, it's a little bit different from mid lane. I know you play a lot of mid, and I mentioned it before, but I just want to do a quick reminder. In mid lane, you get level 2 off of the first 6 minions and then the next 3 melee. So as soon as that melee minion died, you should have been up here with Ezreal. So notice how he went in deep, kind of expecting you to be watching out for that level 2. If you had snared and planted Lucian, Ezreal would have been able to do a lot of damage. And see how far back you are. You always want to, pretty much, if he's here, then you want to be standing somewhere in here or someone over here. You want to be in a parallel line to Ezreal. That way, if Lucian attacks Ezreal and he has to run, then you're able to auto-attack him. And then if Thresh comes up and hooks him, then you're able to either keep hitting Lucian, or if he backs off, then you can start auto-attacking Thresh, who would have moved up to here by now. The advantage of that is you never both want to be running away at one time. So let's say that they chased. You would just auto, and then as he chased, you would auto, then as he chased, you would auto, until they turn their attention to you, at which point Ezra would stop, turn around, and start autoing to help protect your escape out of whatever situation you're in. Typically, it's just you never want to be running away both at the same time. If you keep that in mind, you'll be pretty good to go. But you want to think of your auto attacks. Let's say your auto attacks go to here, right? This is your auto attack range. Ezreal has an auto attack range to like here. Then you guys both have skill ranges, and your skill range goes to about here, and his skill range goes to about here. And pretty much, these aren't incredibly accurate, but you get the picture. So pretty much this whole area, this is your radius, your threat radius. And this is his threat radius. Now, ideally, what you want to do is you want to be standing, let's get a different color over here. What should do? You want to be standing right about here. And that would create the situation in which your auto attack radius would also be here, and your skill radius would also be here. And now what happens is that creates this huge danger zone for them in here. Lots of colors, I know, I'm terrible. That if they come into this area, you're both able to respond. You're also close enough if you're here that you can move over and extend your influence a little bit if they decide that they really want to go ham and aggressive. But standing back here, you're not able to do anything except maybe pick up the CS. So that's something to take into consideration. And I'll show you throughout the lane how that affects you. That was a good auto attack. You want to use these bushes, especially Zyra. Like, these are your bushes. Don't let anyone else in them. Don't let anyone near them. You want to pop out, you want to auto attack, pop out, auto attack. Keep going in the bushes so that you lose aggro. If someone tries to get in the bush, then use your plants. You have a ward up and you haven't warded this. That's a major issue. He went and did it, which is fine, but now when his is up, you need to be aware, and you need to put another one down right before that one expires. All right, now here is where Zyra gets kind of fun in terms of her plant placement. So her plants, you can put them here. You can put them, where's the tower radius? You can put them right here. If you put them right here, they'll get hit by a tower, but right here, even right about here, you can have them hit people without getting aggroed by the tower. So that's a really good opportunity for you to kind of lay down her ass in a situation like this. Because if you get too close, like if you were to come down here and try to do anything to Thresh, she's just going to hook you and you're going to die. So this is like a really bad area to be in. But if you're able to throw some plants down here, cover Ezreal a little bit because he's trying to do the same thing. He's trying to avoid these minions so that he can throw some Qs down, get some harass down. That's the type of situation you want to be looking for. There is a trick to Zyra, and that is if you have a cannon minion, like let's say you had a cannon minion right here, And this minion's about to die. And this cannon minion is going to be targeted next because all these melees, or all these casters are back here. If you throw a plant down, let's just say you throw a plant down here, normally towers kill the plant immediately in one shot. However, if the tower targets this minion, as soon as you see the aggro switch that, you throw your plant down, your plant can get a good 3 or 4 shots off on someone before this minion is killed. Unless these guys kill it, but it still gets damage on them. So that's what you want to look for. You want to look for your tower to start attacking something. Even if it's a melee minion, it takes 3 tower shots for it to die. If you put it down right as it switches aggro, that's your best opportunity to get any sort of plant below tower. Otherwise, it's kind of not really worth your mana for you to be throwing under tower. You can do it sometimes, especially if you get a good shot or you can get an EQ down on them. But it's not really something that you should worry too much about because they're just able to, they clear them real fast. Ideally, the best situation for Zyra is for you to be halfway in lane because then you can chase them all the way under tower with your plants. Alright. See, that was a really dangerous spot for you. If he was more accurate, you could have been in a lot of trouble. Now, if that does happen, where you get pulled under tower, immediately click away. Do not attack, don't root, don't anything. Just walk away. Because otherwise what happens is the tower will aggro you. But if you get hooked and you don't attack him, it won't aggro you. So you'll be in a much better situation. This is not... Okay, yeah, that's fine. Using your plants to scout is great. But you don't want to, you want to make sure that you don't throw a ward there because you wouldn't have one for, oh, you already used it here. You didn't need to do that. You shouldn't be using them other than in that bush after the start of the lane. You only put it in this bush for the very first time that you get to lane. Alright. Now go ahead and go back. You should have helped put Elzriel push immediately as soon as Lucian went back. That's always a preferable situation. That way Lucian loses more farm. Don't worry about people yelling at you. Just make sure that if you're auto-attacking, you're auto-attacking minions that are not close to dying. Otherwise it does make it very difficult as an ADC to farm. Alright, now, this is a good choice, upgrading this. You have your biscuits still, which is great. You always want to make sure you go back to lane with biscuits all the time. When you get back to lane, you want to make sure that you're warding well and that you're applying as much pressure as possible, but you want to try to avoid getting engaged on. You are pretty squishy. That was good. You got a lot of gold off of that. Make sure that you're using your passive proc often to get the gold from auto-attacking and for the gold gen item. Now again here, you don't want to just use your plants. You want to have your Q and your plant land. And then you want to, like that was much better, except you didn't have a plant up at the time. And then you want to make sure that you're auto-attacking so that you're alright, let's go back and look at that. You want to make sure that you're auto-attacking so that your plants know who to prioritize. It's a little too far back. Alright, so let's watch what happens here, and we'll go over it step by step of what you could have done differently. Alright, so there, you could have gotten a lot more harassed down if you had the Q and plant on him. There's a lot of minions here. You should be helping him clear them out. You're not auto-attacking anything really in this situation. Let's see where your Q went and why you only have one plant up. Alright, Q there, 6 seconds, 5, 3, 2, 1. So let's back up. Oh, there's your Q again. 4, 3, 2. Oh, you didn't have seeds up. Okay. So you want to be making sure that you're really careful about using seeds. Here, you exhausted Lucian a little bit too early. I think if you had exhausted him later when he was actually a threat, you could have gotten away with... Oh, that was so close. You definitely could have gotten away with killing him, or Ezreal killing him, rather. Also, if you'd gotten just a little bit more damage off, I'm not sure if you were auto-attacking that whole time. I know, we've watched this 3 times, I'm sorry. Let's see where you could have gotten that extra 100 damage off. Alright, here it is. That was a good hook. Alright, yeah, you want to make sure that you're auto-attacking a little bit better, and that's fine. I'm not 100% sure that you could have gotten that extra extra 100 damage off if you had auto-attacked. If you had your other seed up, you definitely would have. So make sure that you're only, or if you had landed the Q on him with a seed, then you would have been fine. Just try to optimize using your Q and your seed in any type of situation. It was just rough. He got caught by a thresh hook, and that's going to happen sometimes. Now you're behind in lane, so now you have to play the lane a little bit differently. You definitely want to make sure that you clear out and have your wards, that you have your minions cleared out. That ward should have gone in your tri-bush. It would have been significantly more helpful in that situation in case you do get ganked. You shouldn't have gotten boots here. You actually should have... Oh, well, you wouldn't have had the money for it. So that's... Alright, so see there, you used a seed and you didn't really need to. You weren't going to get anything out of it, even if you did get your E on top of it. Even now, it's not really doing anything. But it takes 12 or 13 seconds for your next seed to come up, so you don't want to use them unnecessarily. And see how quickly they die under tower. So it looks like you still have a lot of control in terms of your spells. You haven't really gotten... I know later you get really reactive with them. But as of now, you're still hitting most of your bindings, which is fine. Oh, actually, it's really good. But you just want to be careful that you're not using everything. So in a lane that you're losing, the threat of CC becomes more important than the actual CC. Because... You got the kill, good job. Because once you have the CC down, the E down, Thresh is going to rush at you, which is what happens when you got pulled and you have to back way off. So you just want to make sure that you keep it up as often as possible and only use it to save yourself or Ezreal in the situation that they come after you. Now what happened there is after you got low, this is where your roots start becoming really reactive and not quite as focused. And you start missing a lot of them. Probably because you're a little bit behind in lane. It's just like a stress thing that people tend to do. Just try to like calm down and really think through and take time to aim. Just breathe for a second before you throw it, and you'll be all your things will come out a lot better. Alright, by this point they're really ahead of you. Luckily you got that uh, your codex, so that's great. It gives you some CDR. You have a little bit more liberties with your skills now, but still not a whole lot. You're still pretty low. And you're using your E a lot. You should be using, for the most part, your Q to harass, because that way you both get the, you have a longer range, it's harder to dodge, and you can target with your auto attack so that they can continue attacking even when you're safely out of range. At this point, it looks like you're really not sure what to do since you're losing the lane, so you're being a little bit too defensive, where you weren't until that point when Thresh left. You really weren't. You're not auto attacking anymore. Your skills, you're using pretty much only your E at this point. You haven't been using your Q very much. That was really good though. That Q and double plant. That's pretty much why people max Q in bot lane. All right. So when they went on you, even though they were so low, that was a sure sign of a telegraph that someone was coming to their lane. They were low. They didn't really have a lot of mana. He's really low. That means someone's coming to your lane. So I would have saved my exhaust just in case you knew Zed was coming. You also saw him come through this ward, but if you were too busy focusing on the fight, that's fine. But that's one way for you to know to check your minimap, because they're either going to die because they're going so aggressively, or there's someone coming. I wouldn't have finished this. I would have saved and gotten your Frost Queen's claim. It's just really, really important to her, and definitely a rush item. All right. Again, at this point, really, what you want to worry about is keeping yourself safe, making sure that you use your E as often as possible in the right terms. Meaning, essentially, if they either get way out of position or if they go on you. At this point, the only way you're going to get a kill in lane is if they make a mistake. So you want to watch for their mistakes and watch for their mispositioning. So if one of them gets way ahead of the other, then that's a really good opportunity. See here again, you're using your E to harass, and they can't reach anybody, so you're not really accomplishing anything. And Thresh should be up here right now. If he was a little bit more conscious of what was going on, then he would actually be in front of your minions, forcing you back and zoning you out, because you didn't have anything to stop him. He's playing very, very safe, and he really shouldn't be because of how far ahead they are. So if you keep chunking him like this, and this is after he is significantly ahead, so that's a shame that you missed that, or that he was too far out of range. I would have shot it a little bit earlier, because he has pretty decent move speed. However, anyways, as I was saying, if you keep poking them with Q, you're gonna have a lot more results. And again, there, when you hit your bind, you hit your Qs, all of your skills hit, you were able to pick off what would have been 2 kills had Zed not been there. Again, he did walk through your pink. You should have seen him coming. But when you're in a full battle like that, it's kind of hard to see what's going on. Haunting Guy should be your next... Oh, nope. Sightstone and then Haunting Guys should be your next purchases. Sometimes you're being roamed on quite significantly, so you cannot skip Sightstone. Sometimes if I'm incredibly ahead and the jungler isn't able to come down, or if I'm very behind but I'm not getting ganked on, then I'll forego the Sightstone until after my Haunting Guys is done. It is almost always better to put, again, you're using Eat or Harass. It's almost always better to put your seeds and plants behind them. Because it either forces them to walk into you to fight, or it forces them to fall behind and walk through your plants in an effort to escape. If you had landed that, you would have been fine. Unfortunately, you didn't. But even in that situation, had it landed, you would have been okay. And you have 2 seeds up, and you only died about 5 seconds ago. So you didn't use your seeds in that fight. And I don't know if you know, but your ultimate, if you have seeds and plants in your ultimate actually empowers them, so they attack faster, do more damage through attacking faster. So I'm not sure that it would have gotten Ezreal a kill, but it's some of those small things that you can work on that can potentially get you extra kills in the future or save you from certain situations. You should be putting in your chat when Dragon comes up, so you should type in 2214 after you say take Dragon. Yes, I know that they do have, it gives you an automatic timer now, but really that just kind of makes you, it develops bad habits. So you should be timing it. It gives you practice for timing summoner skills, things like Flash, Ignite, Exhaust, and it helps you with timing words too. So every time you see them place a word, you should be putting in chat the time that it's coming up and where it's located. There was no real reason not to hit him with a Q seed there when you snared him. He can't snare you through the plant, so. Alright, so Thresh killing that ward there, pretty good indication that a gank is coming or that Zed's going to continue coming down to you. Not necessarily, he could just be doing it because, but usually it's something that you want to keep in mind. And in that situation, you just should probably have backed up a little bit more. I know Ezra recalled there as well, but he started recalling earlier than you. And the minions were up to where you were by the time you recalled. So there was nothing really keeping them from walking into that bush. Alright, he got hooked. There's something you can do about that. Obviously, you weren't even in lane. They're just ahead, so you have to alter your playstyle a little bit. Make sure that you're tabbing a lot. You're not tabbing at all that I can see. The rule of thumb is you should be tabbing probably about once every wave. Once every 2 wave of minions, just to see what everyone has, where everyone's at. If they are grayed out, then sorry, I was watching what was happening. If they're grayed out, then you know that they're not visible on the map, so that's someone you should watch for ganking. If you see the jungler and he's highlighted, you can look at the map to see what side of the map he's on, and you should let people know Shaco at blue, Shaco at red. He's not even the jungler, but you know, just for argument's sake. In that fight under tower, You had to either hit your snare and or hit your Q for that to have worked, for you to be able to keep them out from under it. And make sure that you were auto. You also could have baited Lucian into auto attacking you instead of the tower, in which case the minions would actually attack him instead of whatever minions they were attacking. So that's another, and it would have taken, he would have attracted tower aggro also. So that's something to keep into consideration, because that probably could have won you the fight. You might have still died to the other person, like if you killed Thresh, and you might have died to Lucian. If you killed Lucian, you might have died to Thresh. But if you were going to stand your ground, then that would have been the best way to do it. As far as the tower goes, it was pretty low. Both Thresh and Lucian have a lot of AD. They can clear towers pretty fast. That's something you should keep in consideration, and you probably should have just walked away from it. You could have snared this Gromp instead of tanking it, because now you're pretty low. You have 25% of your health gone. There is no real reason for that. Make sure you're always pinging that people have left your lane. And at this point, you want to be doing something. Either you should have gone mid to help with the issue there with Thresh being there, or you needed to help Lucian shove, which you're great at because you're Zyra. If you had helped Ezreal, you possibly could have gotten, or at least done some damage to tower. But I know you've had trouble in mid and late game knowing what to do and when to do it. Essentially, the best way to get over that is to make decisions. Be very decisive in what you choose to do. Find out what your options are. Give the map a quick look over. Either you can help shove with Ezreal, or I could help go mid. They're really, full health mid. They only have half life tower. Probably won't save the tower. Just evaluate quickly. Make a decision, and then if it fails, it fails. But you know that it failed because it was a poor decision. As opposed to if something fails but you hesitated, then you don't know if it was the decision that was the problem, or if it was... Oh, he almost got you. If it was the decision that was the problem, if it was your hesitation. Yeah, here you need to be watching your mini-map a little bit more. Most of your attention should go towards enemy champions. Then, if you're in lane, most of your attention should go to your enemy champion. And then next to your mini-map, and then the enemy minions and your minions. And then you should barely ever look at your champion, especially if you have good mouse control and things like that. You should be able to just instinctually know where your champion is based on your mouse movements. And if you have trouble with that, then let me know. I have some really, really good resources for that. That was a good exhaust. That was a very good exhaust. As far as mid and late game, your eyes should almost always be on the mini-map. There's no real reason, unless you're about to encounter a team fight, you should pretty much just look off the mini-map. There's also a lot of times, you should have pinged him back, because you could see on the mini-map a Mumu coming around the side, and then he could have gone out. Once you get really accustomed to support, you'll actually be able to play most of your lane strictly off your mini-map. You can actually do a lot of the positioning and things while you're looking at your mini-map. All right, you've got your haunting guys. I don't know. I didn't see, but usually you do finish your haunting guys before you get to your 2 boots. I'm not sure if you did or not, but you're level 10 and you haven't upgraded your sight stone. That should be a big concern, especially since they're kind of living in your jungle right now. You know that your bot jungle is probably warded. Alright, if I were you, I wouldn't have warded there. I would have warded here, the entrance to your jungle. And then I would have warded over here and scanned at your blue. Again, here, you're facing a little bit of indecision. Which way do you go? Things like that. I'd put a little... Oh, you don't have a seed. Never mind, you need to save your seeds for this upcoming fight. Alright, so ping to everybody that you don't know where people are. You should know when exactly drag is coming up. You want to put that in chat so that everybody can be prepared for it. Make sure everybody's healed, things of that nature. In that situation, instead of using that seed, because which is fine, but let's say that somebody was coming to dragon or something like that, you would be down a seed. You can use your ghost. Like if you're going to ward, you can use ghosts in order to scout for you. That was a good ult. Unfortunately, they still got out. Mummy ult is another one that I would start timing. Just put in chat whether or not, or when it went down, things like that, so you can kind of keep track of it. Just because it's such an influential ult. I don't truly think she needed to use her ult there, but I could be wrong. I didn't see the whole fight. Alright, so red is up. I'd ping it for your team, let them know it's there. You need to expand your vision a little bit. You know most of them went back to lane, and you have your ghosts up, so use ghosts. Find out if there's anywhere nearby. Go ahead and ward. Do a little sweeping. You should have your red trinket upgraded by now. Ping Mummy so everyone knows where Mummy is. Let them know that he warded that tri-bush. You guys are chasing awfully hard here for a very tanky champion. And unfortunately it means that you chase for a long time. Because you can't just burst them down. You need to be tabbing 100 times more than you are. Just to see what items everyone's building, where everyone is, and the drag timer. Those are the 3 things that you should be looking at. And if your goal right now is to try to keep Yasuo safe, then that's fine. Stay where you're at. But if it was not, then you shouldn't really have been there. There wasn't a whole lot you can do. You're not going to get a tower because you can't go all the way down to 2nd tier. And you weren't going to get any CS, and it wasn't a whole lot of experience. So at that point, I would go back to Ezreal. Try to keep Ezreal safe. Try to get him another couple of kills, things like that. I'm not sure that I would go dragon at this point. Just because you're missing your 2 DPS champions. You're more than welcome to prep for it, but you didn't have any any wards. So what you should have done is if you keep checking tab, about a minute and a half before it comes up, type in 130 drag, go B, get your awards, heal up, and then go to where you need to be, and ping for all of your teammates to go there as well. So now, unfortunately, you have very little vision around dragon. Your team isn't really prepared for it, and nobody's coming with you. Use your ghost to check to see where people are, because yeah, Thresh could have easily collapsed on you there, and you weren't sure where Lucian was, so that could be a big problem. Ping for everybody that blue is up so that they can go ahead and take that before Mummy does. A good spot. I'm sorry. A good spot to ward when you're pushed up here is warding over that wall. That wall there. Again, type in the timer for dragon just so that you have it. Just get in the practice of typing in timers. You don't need to help her. She shouldn't have been that far out. But you did see there's a pink ward there, so you should notate that in chat as well. Okay, so see how you have your warding right now? You have one ward here, you have a ward here, and a ward here. Ideally, what you want to do is you want to have a straight line of wards. You were pushed up to here before, so that's fine. But then you have to understand where your safety net is. So your safety net is here, down here, and over here. Ideally, you want to have it here, through here, through here. Because then they can't come in here, and they can't come in here. Technically, there's a blind spot in between the blue and your wolves where they could sneak by and attack somebody if they were to come in. So that's something to keep in mind. Or like have one up here, have one here, have one there. That type of thing. That way you have vision on where everyone is. Especially if you can get a pink ward in there too. Gives you that coverage, the 4 wards. Yeah, there's nothing that you can do here. I wouldn't have... I mean, there's nothing wrong with going to check, I suppose, but... Again, look at your minimap because Sion is attacking Ezreal right now. There's a good snare. You should have put your ult down immediately while he was snared. Alright, well, even though I know you're trying to clear out these minions to save your tower, which is fine, you should still be clicking over to see what's happening bot lane, whether or not you need to go there, how you can help, that sort of thing. Again, you're just missing a lot of roots, and it's simply, one, it's a comfort level with Zyra in this role, because it does feel a little bit different than playing her mid. But also, it seems like you get a little bit panicked when you're behind. Or it's an uncertainty with just the uncertainty with the mid game. Alright, we're going to go over a few more minutes, but there's not a whole lot more that I could show you simply because you guys are really far behind and there's not a whole lot left that you can do to kind of overcome that. Alright, so now you're going for Rylai's. In this situation where you're really far behind and you're, I don't know, you've died 10 times. I would have gone it and gotten the Giant's Belt first before the Needless. If you were not dying so much, then I would definitely go on the need list. But it really depends on how your game is going so far. You went back with full health. Nothing to buy. Oh, I see. Um, you want to make sure you guys keep words on Baron now because they're in a position to take it pretty much any time they want. And if I were you, I'd try to stay around Ezreal. It seems like you kind of default to going mid lane, which is probably just a side effect of being a usual mid laner. A little late on the ult. I don't think it would have changed anything really. You probably should have just backed off of that fight. They were picking a fight that they couldn't win. And you guys were initiating on the tank. There was just not really a lot to be gained by that. And I think here is where I told you should just surrender if you wanted to. Or you could surrender if you wanted to. So I don't think there's much left to go over. Alright, so what I'm going to do is at some point I'll still go over your Janna replay. I know you had that Janna one. And I'll also try to record one of my Zyra games so you can see the laning a little bit better and kind of explain my thought process as I move through mid-game and late game. So your things to work on support would be every every 2 CS that your AD carry kills, you should be looking at your minimap. Every wave, you should be hitting tab. Every wave or 2 waves, if every wave is too much. And even if you only look at it for a second, your brain will become accustomed to picking up things in like small, minute time periods. And you'll actually start picking up a lot of information from it, even if you just do it for a moment. And don't panic. Don't panic when you're throwing your skill shots. Just breathe for a second before you aim it, and you should be okay. As for your decision making, I would just ask yourself, why am I doing this before you do something? So if you're standing around in lane, then ask yourself, okay, why am I in lane right now? And if you don't have an answer, then do something else. And you'll eventually start teaching yourself that decision-making process since it changes so often based on the game. It's very situational. And while you don't always, and you should not always follow your ADC around, if you're ever completely at a loss of what to do, then being by your AD carry is usually a good default if you find yourself in a situation where you're just not sure. This is dangerous, yeah, exactly for that reason. He had vision of you, and you didn't have any vision over that wall. Alright, well, I'm going to end this because you guys are done. But that's pretty much it. Like, you were fine with Zyra. It's just a matter of getting used to the support role in general and being a little bit more consistent with her skills. But I think that being, I know you play her mid sometimes. If you become more consistent with her skills, it's going to help you a lot more in mid lane too. So I'm going to send this off to you. If you have any questions, then email me or contact me on League or Twitter or wherever. And I will do the Jan review for you in the next few days. Bye.